This is an urgent weather alert broadcast. You are watching Alert Watch YT. Stay with us for the duration of this coverage. Do not change the channel. Do not dismiss this alert. If you are in or near the state of Oklahoma right now, this broadcast contains life-saving information that requires your immediate attention. As of 3:47 p.m. Central Daylight Time on Tuesday, the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma has issued a particularly dangerous situation tornado watch that is a PDS tornado watch covering a corridor of central and western Oklahoma that includes over 2.1 million residents across 22 counties. Let me say that again clearly. A particularly dangerous situation tornado watch is in effect. This is not a routine tornado watch. This designation is reserved for the most extreme tornado outbreak setups the atmospheric science community identifies. The Storm Prediction Center issues fewer than 10 of these watches in an average year. Today, Oklahoma is under one. Concurrent with the PDS tornado watch, multiple tornado warnings are currently active across Caddo County, Grady County, Comanche County, and Stevens County in southwestern Oklahoma. At least two of those warnings carry a tornado emergency declaration, the highest level of tornado warning the National Weather Service can issue, indicating confirmed, large, extremely dangerous tornadoes on the ground and in motion toward populated areas. We are tracking what may be one of the most significant severe weather outbreaks to impact the state of Oklahoma since the catastrophic multi-tornado event of May 2013. The comparison is not made to generate alarm. It is made because the atmospheric setup today shares several critical characteristics with that event: extreme instability, extraordinary wind shear, a deeply dipping dryline, and a cap that has decisively broken across the region over the past 90 minutes. I want to be clear about what this broadcast will do for you. We are going to walk through the complete meteorological setup driving this event, explain what the data means for specific communities, identify the highest risk corridors in precise geographic terms, and give you an actionable checklist of exactly what you need to do right now depending on where you are and who is with you. We will reference current radar, active warning polygons, storm reports from trained spotters on the ground, and output from multiple numerical weather prediction models, including the high-resolution rapid refresh, the national blend of models, the Global Forecast System, and the European Center for Medium-Range Weather Forecasting model. We will not guess, we will not sensationalize. We will tell you what the data says and what it means for your safety. Stay with us, this coverage is continuous. To understand what is happening over Oklahoma right now, you need to understand the chain of atmospheric conditions that has been building across the southern plains for the last 72 hours. None of what we are seeing today is sudden. Meteorologists began flagging this event potential 4 days ago. The ingredients have been assembling on schedule, and this afternoon they have combined in the most dangerous possible configuration. Let us start from the foundation and work upward through the atmosphere. Surface analysis. At the surface level, a strong low-pressure system is centered over the Texas Panhandle with a central pressure reading of 993 millibars and falling. That surface low is deepening at an anomalous rate, dropping approximately 4 millibars per hour over the past 3 hours, a process meteorologists call explosive cyclogenesis, or informally a weather bomb. The intensification of this surface low is driving two critical surface boundaries. The first is the dry line, the boundary between hot, dry air from the southwest, predominantly from the Chihuahuan Desert regions of New Mexico and western Texas, and the warm, moist air that has been pumping northward out of the Gulf of Mexico for the past 48 hours. The dry line is currently positioned along a north-south line running roughly through Altus, Hobart, and Weatherford in western Oklahoma. To the east of that dry line, surface dew point temperatures are ranging from 68 to 74 degrees Fahrenheit. That is an extraordinary moisture load. Dew points in the low 70s represent near-tropical surface moisture levels in a continental environment. This moisture is fuel. It is the energetic building block of every supercell thunderstorm that will develop across this region today and tonight. The second critical surface boundary is a warm front extending eastward from the surface low across central Oklahoma, running approximately through Lawton, Chickasha, and Norman. Warm fronts in tornado setups act as focusing mechanisms. They concentrate low-level wind shear, enhance low-level jet stream activity, and serve as preferential initiation zones for discrete, isolated supercell thunderstorms, the storm type most capable of producing violent, long-track tornadoes. The intersection of the dry line and the warm front, a meteorological focal point known as the triple point, where the cold front, warm front, and dry line converge near the surface low, is currently positioned in the vicinity of Chickasha, Grady County. This triple point region is exhibiting the most intense surface-based instability anywhere in the country right now, and it is precisely from this region that the most significant storm activity is originating. Atmospheric instability, CAPE values. Convective available potential energy, commonly referred to by its abbreviation CAPE, is the standard measure of thunderstorm energy potential in the atmosphere. It is derived from temperature and dew point soundings and represents the amount of energy available to a rising parcel of air. Values above 1,000 joules per kilogram are considered significant. Values above 3,000 joules per kilogram are considered extreme. Across the warm sector of today's storm system, the area east of the dry line and south of the warm front, surface-based CAPE values are ranging from 4,200 to 5,800 joules per kilogram. The highest values, near 5,800 joules per kilogram, are concentrated in a corridor running from Lawton northeast through Chickasha to Shawnee. These values are not merely extreme, they represent some of the highest CAPE readings observed over Oklahoma in the instrumental record. The atmosphere today contains an enormous amount of latent energy waiting to be released, and the cap, the layer of warm air aloft that suppresses convective initiation until conditions are right, has now eroded completely along the dry line as afternoon heating has peaked. This combination of very high CAPE and a collapsed cap is what forecasters call explosive initiation. Storms are not struggling to develop, they are firing rapidly, discreetly, and with immediate supercell organization. Wind shear, the tornado ingredient. CAPE tells us how energetic storms will be. Wind shear tells us what they will do with that energy. Wind shear is the change in wind speed and direction with increasing altitude. When wind shear is strong and specifically structured in a way that promotes rotation, it is the ingredient that turns a powerful thunderstorm into a supercell capable of producing tornadoes. There are two components of wind shear we monitor closely in tornado setups: bulk wind shear and storm relative helicity. Bulk shear from the surface to 6 kilometers altitude, the standard deep layer shear metric is currently measuring between 65 and 75 knots across the corridor of interest. That is 75 to 86 miles per hour of directional and speed change between surface winds and the winds 6 kilometers up. Values above 40 knots support organized supercells. We are nearly double that threshold. Storm relative helicity is the metric most directly associated with tornado production. It measures the rotational energy available to a developing tornado within the inflow layer of a thunderstorm. The 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative helicity, the low-level component most critical for tornado genesis, is currently showing values between 480 and 620 meters squared per second squared across the warm sector. For context, values above 150 meters squared per second squared are considered significant for tornado potential. Values above 300 are associated with violent tornado risk. We are observing values between 480 and 620. This is the wind shear environment associated with long-track violent tornadoes. This is not a minor detail, this is the most important single number I will give you today. Upper level support. Aloft, a powerful jet stream disturbance is digging southeastward out of the base of a broad upper level trough extending from the northern Rockies into the southern plains. At the 500 millibar pressure level, roughly 18,000 feet above the surface, wind speeds are exceeding 100 knots, approximately 115 miles per hour over western Oklahoma. This upper-level support is enhancing the divergence aloft over the region, which promotes surface inflow, strengthens updrafts, and creates the deep layer organization required for long-track supercells and potentially violent tornadoes. The 300 millibar jet stream, the near tropopause jet at approximately 30,000 feet, is positioned directly over the warm sector with wind speeds reaching 130 knots at its core, running southwest to northeast across Oklahoma. The combination of upper-level jet diffluence and lower-level jet convergence is creating an ideal jet coupling configuration, a setup where the upper and lower jet streams work together to support explosive convective updrafts with exceptional vertical velocity. Lifted index and convective parameters. The lifted index across the affected warm sector is currently minus 12 degrees Celsius. The lifted index is a stability measure where negative values indicate instability and values below -6 are associated with extreme severe weather potential. -12 is exceptional. It confirms that air parcels lifted to the middle troposphere are dramatically warmer and more buoyant than the surrounding environment, a necessary condition for intense updrafts that can support large hail and violent tornadoes. The Significant Tornado Parameter, a composite index developed specifically to identify environments capable of producing EF2 and stronger tornadoes, is currently showing values of 8 to 12 across the primary corridor of concern. The threshold for significant tornado risk is 1 point. Values above 4 are rare. We are observing values of 8 to 12. The Energy Helicity Index, another composite parameter, is exceeding 6.0 over Grady and Caddo counties. This is a once-in-several-years atmospheric environment for tornado production, and it is occurring directly over a populated region of central Oklahoma. Model consensus: all 4 major guidance models, the Global Forecast System run at 00Z and 12Z, the North American Mesoscale model, the High-Resolution Rapid Refresh, and the European Center model, are in strong agreement on the overall scenario. This is significant. Model disagreement is common in severe weather setups, particularly at finer scales. Today, the models are aligning on storm timing, intensity, and regional focus with unusual coherence. The HRRR, which runs on a 3-kilometer horizontal grid and provides the highest resolution short-range guidance available, is explicitly simulating multiple discrete supercell thunderstorms initiating along the dryline between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. CDT, then organizing into a long-lived supercell cluster moving northeast at 40 to 50 miles per hour across central Oklahoma through the late afternoon and evening hours. The HRRR reflectivity forecasts are showing classic supercell morphology, bowing structures, hook echoes, and bounded weak echo regions, consistent with tornadic supercells. The European model, which has the best track record for mesoscale severe weather timing in the southern plains, concurs on the initiation timeline and adds explicit precipitation output suggesting significant rainfall and hail in advance of the tornado-producing cells, which may complicate visibility and storm chaser positioning on the ground. The national blend of models, which statistically combines guidance from multiple modeling systems, is currently indicating a 95% probability of tornadoes, an 85% probability of at least one violent tornado rated EF3 or stronger, and a 70% probability of a significant outbreak defined as 10 or more tornadoes before midnight tonight. These numbers are not projections we are presenting casually. They represent the considered output of operational meteorological guidance systems that forecasters at the Storm Prediction Center, the Norman National Weather Service Forecast Office, and the Tulsa National Weather Service Forecast Office are actively incorporating into their decision-making. We are now going to move through the affected regions systematically, working from southwest to northeast along the primary storm track. We will cover each significant metropolitan area, population center, and rural corridor in the path of this developing outbreak. Pay close attention to the county names. When tornado warnings are issued, they are issued by county. Knowing your county could save your life. Southwestern Oklahoma, current active threat. The most immediate and extreme threat at this moment is centered across Caddo County and Comanche County in southwestern Oklahoma. 2 confirmed tornadoes are currently on the ground in this region. The first and most significant is a wedge tornado, a large tornado whose width at the base equals or exceeds its estimated height, indicating exceptional width and ground level contact, currently moving northeast at approximately 42 miles per hour. Trained storm spotters on the ground near Anadarko are reporting a tornado width estimated at over half a mile. Doppler velocity data from the Twin Lakes radar in Oklahoma City is showing rotational velocities of 140 to 165 knots within the associated mesocyclone, a rotation rate consistent with a violent, potentially EF4 to EF5 rated tornado. Radar-indicated debris signatures are present in the low-level reflectivity scan, indicating lofted debris from structural damage occurring at the surface. Anadarko, Oklahoma, county seat of Caddo County, population approximately 6,700, is in the direct path of this tornado and should be treating this as an immediate life-threatening emergency. If you are in Anadarko right now, you should not be watching this broadcast. You should be in your shelter. If you do not have a shelter, you need to be in the lowest interior room of the most substantial building available, away from windows, protected by as many walls as possible. The tornado is currently moving through rural sections of Caddo County, approximately 8 miles southwest of Anadarko, and is projected to reach the western edge of the city within the next 12 to 18 minutes based on current storm motion vectors. This is not a comfortable margin of safety. This is minutes. North of Anadarko, the communities of Chickasha in Grady County, population approximately 16,000, and Tuttle, Rush Springs, and Lindsay are in the projected path envelope of this storm within the next 30 to 60 minutes. Chickasha is the largest population center currently under immediate threat in southwestern Oklahoma. The second confirmed tornado is tracking across northern Comanche County, moving east-northeast, and is currently approximately 14 miles west-northwest of Lawton, Oklahoma. Lawton, the county seat of Comanche County, is the fourth largest city in Oklahoma, with a population of approximately 94,000 residents, including a significant military population at Fort Sill, the United States Army installation immediately adjacent to the city. Emergency management officials at Fort Sill have activated shelter protocols. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for the greater Lawton metropolitan area, with a threat time of approximately 25 to 40 minutes for tornado arrival. Residents of Lawton and surrounding communities, Duncan, Elgin, Cache, Walters, Marlow, need to be finalizing their shelter plans right now. Do not wait until the tornado is visible. Do not wait until you hear sirens. Sirens are not a reliable soul warning mechanism. They are designed for outdoor notification and may not be audible indoors, particularly in modern insulated construction. Your weather radio, your wireless emergency alerts, and this broadcast are your primary information sources. Central Oklahoma, rapidly escalating threat. Moving northeast along the primary storm track, the threat is escalating rapidly across the central Oklahoma corridor over the next 1 to 3 hours. Oklahoma City, the state capital and by far the largest metropolitan area in Oklahoma, sits directly in the projected impact corridor for multiple storm systems this evening. The Oklahoma City Metropolitan Statistical Area encompasses Oklahoma County, Cleveland County, Canadian County, Logan County, Pottawatomie County, and Grady County, with a combined population of approximately 1.4 million people. The first storm, the Caddo County wedge tornado system, is projected to pass northeast of Oklahoma City proper, tracking through southern Canadian County and northern Grady County, potentially impacting the communities of Mustang, Yukon, and Tuttle before weakening or turning more northward. However, this is a long-track supercell and its behavior will evolve. The primary concern for the immediate Oklahoma City metro is the storm's potential to interact with outflow boundaries from earlier convection. A second, developing supercell is currently organizing along the dryline approximately 40 miles southwest of Oklahoma City near the Chickasha-Tuttle corridor. This cell is rapidly intensifying, showing a hook echo on Doppler radar and increasing rotational velocity in upper-level scans. The high-resolution rapid refresh model has been consistently initializing this cell's development for the past 3 model runs, suggesting high forecast confidence in its evolution. The National Weather Service Norman office has issued a tornado watch. The PDS watch covers the entirety of Oklahoma County, and meteorologists at that office are monitoring this developing cell as a primary threat to the Oklahoma City metropolitan area between approximately 5:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. CDT. Oklahoma City has experienced destructive tornadoes before. The 1999 Bridge Creek Moore tornado remains one of the most intensely studied violent tornadoes in meteorological history, and the May 2013 Moore tornado killed 24 people and destroyed more than 1,000 homes. Emergency management infrastructure in Oklahoma City and surrounding communities is well developed, and the public awareness and shelter compliance rates are higher here than almost anywhere in the country. However, that institutional preparedness cannot be assumed to translate to individual action without active prompting. If you are in Oklahoma City, Canadian County, Cleveland County, or the communities of Moore, Norman, Midwest City, Del City, Edmond, Yukon, Mustang, or Newcastle right now, you need to understand that your window for active shelter preparation is approximately 1 to 2 hours. Use it. Norman, Oklahoma, home to the University of Oklahoma and the National Severe Storms Laboratory, with a population of approximately 128,000, is in Cleveland County and falls within the southern arc of the projected storm track envelope. The University of Oklahoma has activated its emergency notification system. Outdoor activities on campus and in the city's parks and outdoor venues have been canceled. Students and residents have been directed to shelter-in-place protocols under the university's Sooner Emergency Notification System. Moore, Oklahoma, a community of approximately 62,000 that has experienced devastating tornado impacts in 1999, 2003, and 2013, sits between Oklahoma City and Norman, directly in the warm sector of today's atmospheric setup. Emergency managers in Moore have pre-deployed staff to the city's 14 designated shelter facilities, which collectively have capacity for approximately 8,500 people. These shelters are open now. Edmond, Oklahoma, population approximately 95,000 in northern Oklahoma County, is in the northern fringe of the primary threat corridor but may be impacted by secondary storm cells rotating around the primary supercell cluster. The Edmond Fire Department has placed all stations at elevated readiness. Eastern Oklahoma Secondary Threat Zone. As the supercell cluster moves northeast through this afternoon and evening, it will enter eastern Oklahoma by late evening and potentially interact with the terrain transitions of the Ouachita Mountains and the Arkansas River Valley. The Shawnee, Oklahoma area, Pottawatomie County, population approximately 31,000, is in the projected storm path for approximately 6:30 to 8 p.m. CDT. Shawnee is a community with a significant aging population and a high proportion of mobile homes, particularly in rural sections of Pottawatomie County. Mobile homes provide virtually no protection against tornado winds at EF1 or stronger intensity. Residents of mobile homes in Pottawatomie County need to identify a permanent structure they can reach within minutes and be ready to move at the first warning. Seminole County, Hughes County, and McIntosh County will see increasing severe weather risk through the evening hours as additional discrete supercells develop along the advancing cold front. Tulsa, Oklahoma, the second largest city in the state, population approximately 413,000. In the Tulsa metropolitan area, with approximately 1 million residents, is currently at the eastern edge of the PDS Tornado Watch boundary. The National Weather Service Tulsa office has the city under a severe thunderstorm watch and is monitoring the northeastward movement of the primary supercell cluster. If the cluster maintains its current organizational structure through central Oklahoma, it will enter Tulsa's metropolitan area between approximately 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. CDT. The communities of Sapulpa, Sand Springs, Broken Arrow, and Bixby in the Tulsa metro should be tracking this storm system's progression closely through the late evening hours. Rural corridor risks. Between the metropolitan areas lie extensive rural stretches of central Oklahoma with lower population density but significant vulnerability factors. Rural residents face longer emergency response times, reduced access to public shelter infrastructure, higher rates of mobile and manufactured housing, and lower bandwidth internet access that may limit real-time weather information. The communities of Chickasha, Pauls Valley, Purcell, Tecumseh, Shawnee, Earlsboro, and Meeker are all in counties within the primary threat corridor. Rural residents in these areas should take shelter in the most substantial permanent structure available and should not shelter in mobile homes under any circumstances. County roads in this region will become impassable during and immediately after storm passage due to debris, flooding, and potential damage to road surfaces and bridges. Do not drive through flooded roadways. Do not attempt to drive away from a tornado in its path. A tornado moving at 40 to 50 miles per hour can outpace most evacuation attempts on rural road networks where maximum speeds are limited and roads are not optimally directed away from storm paths. Hail threat assessment. In addition to tornado risk, today's supercell storms will produce very large to giant hail. Hailstones of 2 to 4 inches in diameter, baseball to grapefruit size, are possible in the cores of the most intense supercells. Hail of this magnitude is capable of causing serious injury to unprotected individuals, destroying ungaraged vehicles in minutes, and causing significant structural damage to roofs, windows, and siding. If you are outside in central Oklahoma and hear the onset of hail, treat it as a signal to seek immediate shelter. Very large hail often precedes the most tornado-significant phase of a supercell's life cycle, as it marks proximity to the updraft base where tornado development occurs. Moving away from hail, specifically moving out of the path of the storm, is the correct behavioral response. Flooding and flash flood risk. The tornado outbreak today is the primary life-threatening hazard, but it is not the only one. Rainfall rates in the heaviest cells will exceed 3 to 4 inches per hour. Storm total rainfall of 4 to 7 inches is projected across a 200-mile swath of central Oklahoma through tomorrow morning, with localized higher amounts of 8 to 10 inches in the heaviest training areas where storm cells repeatedly pass over the same geography. The Canadian River, the Washita River, the South Canadian River, and numerous tributary streams across central Oklahoma are already running at or near flood stage from rainfall earlier this week. Any additional rainfall today will cause rapid rises on these waterways. Flash flood watches are in effect for Cleveland County, McLean County, Grady County, Garvin County, and Murray County through tomorrow morning. Do not drive through water-covering roadways. Flash flood drowning is one of the leading causes of weather-related death in the United States in non-tornado years, and during tornado outbreaks, flooding significantly compounds the danger environment. 2 feet of moving water is sufficient to carry away most passenger vehicles. 6 inches of moving water can knock a person off their feet. The phrase you need to internalize is straightforward and absolute. Turn around, don't drown. Power grid status. Oklahoma Gas and Electric, Public Service Company of Oklahoma, and rural electric cooperatives serving central Oklahoma have pre-positioned repair crews at staging locations outside the primary threat zone. However, widespread, simultaneous storm damage across multiple counties will overwhelm immediate restoration capacity. Based on the storm's projected track and intensity, significant power outages are anticipated across an area covering potentially 500,000 to 900,000 electric meters in central Oklahoma. In the event of a large-scale multi-county tornado outbreak, restoration of service to the hardest-hit areas may take 24 to 96 hours or longer. Implications of extended power outages in tornado outbreak conditions are severe. Medical equipment dependent on electricity requires backup power contingencies. Food safety becomes a concern within 4 hours for refrigerated items. Traffic signals will be inoperable, requiring treated intersections as 4-way stops. Wireless network capacity may be reduced as cell towers lose utility power and rely on battery backup. If you have a backup generator, ensure it is fueled, tested, and understood to be operated exclusively outside and away from any structures. Carbon monoxide poisoning from improperly operated generators is a predictable secondary hazard following severe weather events and kills multiple people in Oklahoma every year. In this segment, we are going to be direct and specific about the highest risk locations within today's outbreak. We are assigning risk tiers based on the intersection of current storm motion, projected storm paths from HRRR output, population density, and shelter infrastructure availability. Extreme danger, immediate action required. The following locations are at extreme danger level, meaning the threat of violent tornado impact within the next 60 minutes is high based on current radar trends and storm motion. Anadarko, Caddo County, population 6,700. Immediate shelter action required. The confirmed tornado is approaching. Chickasha, Grady County, population 16,000, tornado warning in effect. Shelter in your strongest interior room now. Lawton, Comanche County, population 94,000, tornado warning approaching. Sheltering should begin immediately. The Fort Sill emergency broadcast channel on 1600 AM is active. Tuttle, Grady County, population 7,000, developing storm threat within 20 to 30 minutes. High danger, shelter preparation immediate. The following communities have a 2-hour or less window before their peak tornado threat based on current storm motion. Moore, Oklahoma County, and Cleveland County, population 62,000. Shelters are open. Move to your shelter or safe room now while roads are clear. Mustang, Canadian County, population 22,000, supercell approach from the southwest. Shelter plan activation recommended immediately. Yukon, Canadian County, population 27,000. High danger window opens within 90 minutes. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma County, 681,000 in the city proper. Multiple cells projected. NOAA Weather Radio, WX Messenger app alerts, and the Oklahoma Department of Emergency Management's alert system should all be active on your devices. Norman, Cleveland County, 128,000 residents. Southern metro area threat elevated. University protocols active. Shawnee, Pottawatomie County, 31,000. Risk window 6 to 8:30 p.m. CDT. Prepare now. Elevated danger monitoring phase. These communities should be actively monitoring and have shelter shelter plans fully identified. Edmond, Oklahoma County, 95,000. Northern storm tracks possible. Midwest City, Oklahoma County, 56,000. Eastern metro exposure. Broken Arrow, Tulsa County, 113,000. Evening storm progression threat. Sapulpa Creek County, 21,000. Outer storm risk zone. Seminole County, 7,700. Cold front storm development. Pauls Valley, Garvin County, 6,000. Primary storm track corridor. Ada, Pontotoc County, 17,000. Secondary storm development risk. Highest risk infrastructure points. Beyond residential communities, specific infrastructure concentrations warrant specific mention. Interstate 40 corridor through Canadian and Oklahoma counties. This is one of the busiest truck freight corridors in the country. Commercial vehicles have extremely high tornado vulnerability due to their height profile. The Oklahoma Department of Transportation has activated emergency overpass advisory signage. Commercial operators should not shelter under overpasses. This cannot be overstated. An overpass is not a shelter from a tornado. Wind acceleration through the confined space beneath an overpass creates extreme flying debris hazard. Commercial drivers need to pull off the road, move away from vehicles if safe to do so, and find a low ditch or depression away from trees and power lines. Interstate 35 through Purcell, Pauls Valley, and Davis runs parallel to the storm track for approximately 60 miles. Motorists on this corridor should exit the highway and seek shelter in a substantial building. Will Rogers World Airport in Oklahoma City has suspended all flight operations through at least 9 p.m. CDT. Aircraft and ground crew are secured. The National Severe Storms Laboratory and Storm Prediction Center in Norman are operating under shelter protocols. Research staff are secure. Schools across the affected counties, including Anadarko Public Schools, Chickasha Public Schools, the Lawton Independent School District, and the Moore Public School System, have implemented lockdown shelter protocols. Students are sheltered in interior hallways and designated tornado-safe areas. Do not call school facilities during active shelter protocols. Communication lines must remain clear for emergency coordination. This section of our broadcast is designed to function as a direct, actionable guide. Everything that follows is organized by your current situation. Listen for the description that matches where you are and what you are facing, and follow those steps precisely. If you are in a tornado warning area right now, Step 1. Move immediately to your pre-designated shelter. This means an underground storm shelter, a basement, a FEMA-rated safe room, or an interior room on the lowest floor of a permanent, well-constructed building. The room should have as many walls between you and the exterior as possible. Interior bathrooms, closets, and hallways on ground floors without windows are your primary options in above-ground buildings. Step 2. Protect your head and neck. Flying debris is the primary cause of tornado fatalities. A mattress, heavy blankets, a bicycle or motorcycle helmet, couch cushions, any substantial padding covering your head, neck, and upper torso reduces your vulnerability to flying debris significantly. Step 3. If you have a weather radio, ensure it is on and your location codes are correctly programmed. NOAA Weather Radio operates on 7 frequencies between 162.47 162.55 MHz. Your local National Weather Service office frequency in Norman is 162.50 MHz. The Tulsa office broadcasts on 162.55 MHz. Step 4. Do not open windows. The outdated belief that opening windows equalizes pressure and prevents structural damage is false and has been thoroughly discredited by structural meteorology research. Opening windows wastes time you should spend sheltering and may increase the entry of debris. Step 5. Do not leave your shelter until the National Weather Service has canceled the tornado warning for your county and you have confirmed the storm has passed by listening to official sources. If you are in a tornado watch area, Step 1. Identify your shelter location now. If you live in a mobile home, identify the nearest permanent structure, a neighbor's brick home, a local business, a public shelter, and know your route there. You may have very few minutes of warning when a tornado is confirmed. Step 2. Charge your phone and electronic devices fully. Ensure weather alert notifications are enabled. On most smartphones, wireless emergency alerts are enabled by default in the United States, but users can inadvertently disable them. Check your device's notification settings right now. Step 3. Prepare a shelter kit. Water, minimum 1 gallon per person. A first aid kit. flashlights with fresh batteries, a battery-powered or hand-crank weather radio, copies of critical documents, medications. If you have pets, a carrier and supplies for them. Step 4. Monitor the weather. Set a repeating 5 to 10 minute reminder to check radar until the watch is canceled or upgraded. The National Weather Service website at weather.gov and the Storm Prediction Center at spc.noaa.gov provide current watches and warnings. The My Radar app, RadarScope, and the Weather.com app all provide Doppler radar access on mobile devices. Step 5. Communicate your shelter plan to everyone in your household. Ensure children understand where to go and what to do if a warning is issued while they are at school, at a friend's home, or commuting. If you are in a vehicle, vehicles are among the most dangerous places to be during a tornado. A tornado with winds exceeding 100 miles per hour can overturn and tumble most passenger vehicles. A tornado with winds above 150 miles per hour will destroy most vehicles. Neither speed of the vehicle nor driving away from a tornado is a reliable safety strategy within the tornado's immediate threat radius. If you are in a vehicle and a tornado is visible or an active tornado warning covers your location, follow this protocol in strict priority order. First option and best option, drive at a right angle to the tornado's path and reach a substantial permanent structure. Even a gas station or small commercial building is better than your vehicle. Second option, if a structure is not reachable within 2 to 3 minutes, exit your vehicle and move into a low-lying ditch or depression below the level of the road surface, lying flat, face down with your hands protecting your head. Move as far from the vehicle as you can manage in the time available. Your vehicle could be thrown and become a projectile. Third option, if no ditch or depression is available, move to the lowest position possible inside your vehicle. Buckle your seatbelt, cover your head and neck with your arms and any available materials. Position yourself below the level of the windows. Under no circumstances should you shelter under an overpass. Under no circumstances should you attempt to drive directly toward or alongside a tornado to observe it. If you are not a trained storm spotter in coordination with the National Weather Service, you have no reason to be positioned near a tornado, and the risk to yourself and to emergency responders who may have to reach you is not justified. Emergency contact numbers: Oklahoma Department of Emergency Management 405-521-2481. This number is for non-immediate administrative emergencies and information. Emergency services: fire, police, ambulance, 911. Do not call 911 to report a tornado unless it is directly threatening life. 911 systems in affected counties are experiencing high call volume. Reserve 911 for life-threatening emergencies only. American Red Cross Oklahoma 405-228-9500. The Red Cross activates emergency shelter operations during significant tornado outbreaks. Call for shelter location information. Oklahoma Gas and Electric Outage Reporting 405-272-9741. Oklahoma Natural Gas Emergency Line 800-458-4251. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline 988. Severe weather events, particularly those that result in displacement, property loss, or injury, can precipitate acute mental health crises. Resources are available. For specific populations, elderly residents and those with mobility limitations should have been contacted by community emergency managers as part of special needs registries. If you know an elderly neighbor, family member, or individual with limited mobility who is in a tornado warning area and may not be receiving this information, contact them now, before storm arrival, not after. Residents of nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and long-term care facilities in affected counties, facility emergency plans should already be activated. Oklahoma State Department of Health has been notified of storm threat and is in contact with licensed facilities across the affected region. Parents of school-aged children, do not attempt to pick up your children from school during an active tornado warning. School facilities have professional staff and established tornado protocols. Your children are safer in a school shelter than in a vehicle on a road during an active outbreak. Every parent's instinct is to be with their children during a crisis. Attempting to drive to school during a tornado warning puts both you and emergency responders at risk without reducing the risk to your children who are already sheltered. Residents without access to a shelter at home, Oklahoma City, Moore, Norman, Chickasha, Lawton, and Shawnee have all activated public emergency shelters. Contact your local emergency management office or dial 211 for shelter location information specific to your county. Power outage preparation in the next hour. Charge everything. Phones, tablets, backup battery banks. Fill bathtubs with water for non-drinking sanitation use in the event of extended outage. Ensure your garage doors can be operated manually if power is lost. Most modern garage doors have a manual release cord. Locate flashlights, extra batteries, and candles. Identify and test your battery-powered or hand-crank weather radio. If you use electrically powered medical equipment, home oxygen, dialysis supplies, insulin that requires refrigeration, powered mobility devices, contact your medical provider and local emergency management now to ensure backup power arrangements are in place. Do not wait until power is out to address this. As we close this segment of continuous coverage, let us deliver a clear, concise summary of the current operational status of the situation across Oklahoma. The particularly dangerous situation tornado watch issued by the Storm Prediction Center remains in full effect for 22 counties across central and western Oklahoma until 11 p.m. CDT tonight. That watch is subject to extension if the severe weather threat persists into the overnight hours, which current modeling suggests is probable. At least 2 confirmed tornadoes are currently on the ground in southwestern Oklahoma. The Caddo County wedge tornado is producing what appears from Doppler velocity data to be a large, violent tornado. Tornado emergency declarations are active for Caddo County and portions of Grady County. The primary risk corridor for the next 3 to 5 hours runs northeast from Lawton through Chickasha, Mustang, Yukon, southern Oklahoma City, Moore, and Norman before transitioning into eastern Oklahoma late tonight. Hail up to 4 inches in diameter, wind gusts to 80 miles per hour in straight-line wind events, and flash flooding are co-occurring hazards across the affected region. Do not assume that if this storm has not reached you yet, it will not. The outbreak is still in its development phase. The atmospheric conditions that have produced 2 tornadoes already are becoming more favorable over the next 2 to 3 hours, not less. The peak threat window for the Oklahoma City metropolitan area has not yet arrived. We will return with a full, updated broadcast within 30 minutes or immediately upon any significant change in storm status, new tornado emergency declarations, or confirmed tornado touchdowns in populated areas. If the situation intensifies significantly, we will cut to immediate live coverage without scheduled interruption. Until then, the message for every resident in the state of Oklahoma tonight is simple. Know where your shelter is, know how to get there, know when to go, do not wait for conditions to become visible. By the time you can see a tornado in your immediate vicinity, you may have missed the safest window to act. Trust your weather alerts. Trust the National Weather Service, trust the science, and take care of each other. This is Alert Watch YT. Stay with us, stay safe, stay sheltered. Coverage continues.